Hi everybody, welcome back to the Premier Guns YouTube channel, and today we've got yet another limited edition for you, another EWA special. As I'm sure people who watch this channel understand, we are huge Browning dealers, and the XS Pro, Ultra XS Pro, is one of my absolute favourite all-round competition guns. So what we're bringing to you today is something a bit different. This is the XT Pro. Now the Browning Ultra XT initially first launched back in the late 2001-ish, and it was literally a heavier version of an XS with fixed choke barrels, 4 3/4, a bigger, chunkier stock, and it was basically the trap version of that particular gun. Fast forward a few years, they made a high rib version of it. I'm pretty certain it was about 2012. So you got the standard XT platform, if you like, which was the big, heavy, durable action. But what they did is they put this sort of ramped rib on, which you're going to have a look at now, largely to do with quicker target acquisition and a more head-up position. We actually had some American specification Citoris, which have got the same rib on with a Monte Carlo stock and ported barrels, which are really, really cool. We managed to get those from somewhere, forget now where they came from. So what Browning have done is they've relaunched their XT, but what they've done is they've put it with the Pro package, so the barrel weights, the stock weights, all the cool stuff. So what we're going to do is these are a very, very limited number, so I'm just going to talk you through this. So like I said, to start with, if you look at it, it looks like an XS. So you've got the standard sort of scroll work in the opposite corners, the brushed finish action, and what they've done with this one is they've actually gone for a silver borderline rather than a gold, which I actually prefer. I think it looks better. Big, solid, deep body Browning action, so reliable, so durable, really good bit of kit. And like I said, if you look at it from sort of there, it looks like an XS, but the main difference you've got here is you've got this ramped rib. Now, for trap shooting, where the gun is designed to shoot, a little bit high, and you put the target sort of on the rib rather than sort of blank it out like you would a sporting target, this can be beneficial for a lot of people. There's quite a considerable number of fixed high rib and adjustable high rib guns available on the market today. But the thing with the XS is because of the price point, it comes quite a long way underneath the likes of some of your Krieghoff and Blaser high ribs and your DT11s. So for someone that wants to try a high rib but doesn't want to spend a fortune, this is a really good option, I think. So I'm just going to take it apart. So like I said before, Browning, although they do innovate, they are masters of going to old filing cabinets and pulling out old designs and things that they've done before and sort of reinventing them. A classic example is the Grade 3 MK38 that we've looked at the other week. And like I said, this is no different. Now, this particular stepped rib, up until the 2012 XT, was something you only really saw in the States. We tended to have different types of high ribs. Quite often, if you look back at some of the old Miracus, they were sort of like a motorway bridge ramp rather than a sort of, this is just like a step rib. So what that does initially, of course, is it adds quite a bit of weight onto the gun, and with this being a trap gun, you want it big and heavy. So by having this big sort of motorway rib on the top with these big, thick dovetailed posts, that adds extra weight, which you want for a trap gun, for sort of DTL ABT. I would imagine it's maybe a bit too heavy for OT, but don't quote me on that. And this particular gun in 32 inches is just under £9. I think it's 814, 815. So before you start putting weights into that, what that's going to mean is it's going to make it a very steady gun to shoot. It's not going to take a lot of movement to get going, very controllable because of that extra weight. And again, in those disciplines like DTR, like ABT, that's a real benefit. So nicely engine turned barrel lumps, as you would expect with the Browning. Standard Browning mechanism, 18.7 bore, which is 740. So Invector Plus. Ventilated barrels, extended Briley titanium chokes, and I think this comes with about 400 chokes. We'll have a look in the box in a bit. And that essentially is it. Very similar to the XS. You've got positions down the rib where you can put the barrel weights on. So if we just pop it together, CIP and superior steel shot proof as well. which is interesting because we've actually got some clients that from overseas places like Norway, where they shoot 24-gram steel for trap. So, you know, this might be a suitable gun for those guys over there too. So, unlike the XS, this is bigger in the grip, which is what you'd expect from a trap gun. Okay, the XS Pro is very, very slim. It doesn't really have a palm swell. It's much more swept back in the radius of the grip, whereas this feels more typically trappy and more typically Browning trappy. Nice tight grip, little bit of a palm swell, but not as big as previous models. I think I've talked in previous models about the old XT with the factory adjustable comb, and that had got a really quite a chunky, in some ways uncomfortable people with small hands palm swell on that. Factory adjustable comb, and again Browning have opted for the later style with the Allen key through the back, which I really like. I've said about it before, the previous model with the 2 screws on the side just didn't give you enough adjustment. The comb would always fall off the top and it just wasn't ideal. Drop at comb and drop at heel. Again, 10mm of drop, which is what you'd expect. We've talked about MK38 trap guns, we've talked about other Browning trap guns, and 10mm tends to be the norm from the drop at comb to the drop at heel on a gun that's kind of a dedicated trap gun. Here we've got 27-37 when it's up, and 37-47 when it's flat. So a good amount of adjustment there, plenty of scope for setting the gun up, regardless of the the requirements of the shooter. So as you'd expect with a trap gun, we've got a beaver tail forend, and as I've said before, this new style checkering that Browning are using, which feels a bit chunkier and not as nice as the sort of fine checkering they've done on previous models. I can understand the benefits of it in the wet in terms of grip, but I'm just not a fan of it. I don't like it. I prefer the pre-2021 models because the checkering for me is much more aesthetically pleasing. The stock itself, or the wood itself, is Turkish grade 4 walnut, European grade 4 walnut, same as the XS Pro, and we've got a couple of different examples here. Got quite a nice little knotty one with a Patmeyer recoil pad. Same system as the Pro Trap here. So with the XS Pro, it comes with the Inflex pad, so you get various different pads to lengthen and shorten the stock. Whereas with this, same as a Pro Sport 75 or a 75 Pro Trap, and what you've got is you've got a ground to fit Patmeyer pad, but it just still come with 2, depending on your required length. To add to that, adjustable trigger is standard. Again, this is quite a nice touch with sticking with the silver with the border engraving. They've gone for a polished silver trigger rather than the gold one that you get on the XS. So there is a few little differences aesthetically between the two guns. Standard length of pull is 15 inches. Like I said, I do like the grip. This does feel good. It is heavy because of what it's designed for. Is it too heavy? Not entirely sure. A lot of people shoot Kriegoffs, which are £9 plus. This with a sort of a barrel or stock weight assembly setup is going to be very, very similar. So let's have a look what we get in the box. So it's slightly wider case than the XS Pro, and that's of course to do with the fact that this gun's got a higher rib and a bigger stock, I assume. Opaline Browning case, so very nicely presented, and again, like the XS Pro, we get barrel weights and stock weights. So you've got your barrel weights there that you can fit anywhere you want to up the length of the rib, the centre rib. Spare triggers, which are silver, which is nice, and the various Allen keys for adjusting the comb, putting the barrel weights on, and moving the trigger. This particular guns have both got the stock weight system in situ, so that probably adds a little bit to the extra weight. Although I do think, looking at the Browning website, I think they quoted £8 15 ounces for the standard 32-inch gun out the box. So if you base it on about sort of £9, you won't be far off at all. Choke wise, now, whereas in previous videos where we've reviewed Sporters and we've gone, oh my god, it's full of tight chokes, with this particular gun, you want them. So we've got extra full, okay, 2 fulls, 2 3/4, 2 halves, and a light modified. So 3/8 all the way up to extra full, which for somebody that's want to use this gun for ABT down the line, absolutely ideal. You might want slightly tighter chokes if you're shooting Olympic trap, and to be fair, if you're shooting Olympic trap, you probably want shorter barrels, probably 30-inch, which this gun is also available in. As usual, you get your sort of barrel socks and trigger lock, etc. Interesting case in point, this gun is only available in right hand specification. Now, even though we've talked before about Brownings being fairly ambidextrous and fairly universal, because of the addition of the palm swell on the stock, which the XS Pro doesn't have, this is not really suitable for left-handed shooters. So, like I say, limited edition, small number of guns, and you know, if you like high ribs, this is certainly a consideration. I've had a couple of guns with high ribs over the year, and I like it because I'm quite tall, like I said. I would have to adjust the comb accordingly to get it set up with the rib, but what I do like is the fact that the rib is fixed, because things like the 725 ProMaster or the Beretta 694 ACS, fantastic bit of kit, but there's always the danger you're fiddling around with it forever. At least with this, the only adjustment you've got in terms of the dimensions is the adjustable comb. So if you got that set up nicely, you've got the centre bead. Look for the sort of figure of 8 if you wanted to shoot it fairly flat. If you wanted to shoot it for trap disciplines, then obviously you'd put the comb up a bit higher. I would say that as well as people that want to shoot trap disciplines, this would also appeal to people as an all-rounder, guys that are big hands, you know, that want a heavy gun to slow them down. You can absolutely use this for sporting. Let's not forget it's multi-choke. It's only a kind of similar weight to something like a Krieghoff or a long barrel DT11. And like I said, because of the price point, it's going to appeal to a lot of people. The XS is a superb bit of kit. It's highly regarded. You've still got people winning stuff with them at all kinds of levels. Sam Green shoots an XS and he won the British Open, I think, last year at Sporting. So, you know, people like these because they just work, they handle well, and they're just so solid. It's Japanese reliability at the end of the day. And also, with this gun being a bit different, with it having this particular configuration of rib, there's not a lot of guns out there, certainly in the UK, that are like this. So I think people are going to enjoy the fact that it's got a tapered rib, which is 10 to 13, which is actually slightly, I think, narrower than an XS Pro. I think that's 13mm parallel. Don't quote me on that. And like I say, as an all-rounder, it is a really nice bit of kit. Available in 30 and 32 inch. You're buying Browning durability, head-up shooting position, quicker target acquisition, and as a good all-rounder, you know, this is certainly a gun you should consider if you don't want a trap gun and a sporter, because you could essentially use this for both. That's the Browning Ultra XT Pro, sorry, like I say, full Pro package, barrel weight, stock weights, 18 million extended titanium chokes, nice case, standard 10-year Browning warranty. Any questions, please comment below. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, because we can't keep producing content without you guys. And also the membership options are nearly finalised, so do look out for those. And that's it for me. You've been great. Browning Ultra XT Pro. Get in touch if you want one. Get in touch if you want to know anything about them. And we'll see you on the next one. Cheers.